Morning, everyone. Hope you are well. It's a bit dark. Let's see if we can improve things. Hold on 1 second. We're getting there. Okay. I think that's a bit better. Okay. Right. Let's make a start. So today's learning is dedicated in memory of Ami Bas Aryeh, Paul Casimir, Yom Yochia ben Moshe Eliezer, Shlomo Yechia ben Moshe Eliezer, Ben Sion ben Yitzchak, Aryeh ben Shimon, Leah Bas Bible, Avram Mordechai ben Moshe Katner, as well as the Yortzites for today, which are as follows: Shaindo Bas Reuben Levi, David ben Shimon Baum, Zvi ben Mordechai Bentley. We wish every one of their respective families long life. Couple of thoughts on short ideas on this week's parasha once again. So the this week's parasha discusses, amongst other things, about the festivals. It goes through all the different festivals, Pesach, Shavuos, and Sukkot, and then it goes on to the High Holy Days and everything else. What is the word that's used in the Torah for a festival? The word is Chag, but which means festival, but there is also another word, and that word is the word Moed. Sorry, apologies. Let me just say good morning to all our viewers from across the world. Michael, Caroline, Rachel, Estelle from Stanmore, Carol, Peter, Susan, David, and Alan. Good morning to each and every one of you. Lovely to see you and all those that are still tuning in on this, I was going to say sunny morning, but it's not. Okay. The other word that's used for a festival in the Torah is the word moed. It's a moed, right? We say in Israel, they say on the festivals, on Chol HaMoed, they'll say moadim v'simcha. Moed is the word that we associate with festivals. But what exactly does the word moed mean? And the meaning of the word, the etymology of the word, will teach us as to what exactly we are meant to achieve in the festival itself. In all the festivals. Well, the word moed means a meeting. Okay, moed is the word that we use from the word vad, which means meeting. And the aim of every festival, it doesn't matter which one you pick or choose, every festival, the aim is to reach a clear recognition of Hashem. And we reach that such a point in time that we feel that we've actually had an encounter, had a meeting with him. Therefore, by recalling all the miracles, we think of Passover, Pesach, the going out of Egypt, and the incredible miracles and the splitting of the sea and everything else. And then you come on to Sukkot, when we literally dwelled in tabernacles under the protection of the clouds of glory, right? And the way God protected us in the desert. And every festival, Shavuos, with the God speaking to us, and all the miracles that surrounded the giving of the Torah and divine revelation. So we are encountering God's providence on each of those festivals through joy. Yet there is another conduit, there is another vehicle through which we can encounter God, and that is, although we can come close to somebody, in this case God, through joy and ecstasy and happiness, we also can come closer to God through the opposite, through pain and suffering, turmoil, ordeals that we all experience, destruction. So when we are worthy, and if we think about the festival of Tisha B'Av as a case in hand, it's referred to as a moed, as a festival, right? So the way that many explain it is, how can we refer to it as a festival? The association with festival with joy and happiness, and Tisha B'Av, fasting and sitting on the ground, is hardly joyous. It's mourning over all the destructions of the temple and the Holocaust and the pogroms and the Tach B'Tach and the Crusades and all the other things that we've experienced as a nation. It doesn't sound particularly like a moed. And the idea is that as we've already mentioned, moed means to come close. It means to have an encounter with God. And therefore, we can also have an encounter through joy or happiness, but also God reveals himself through the destruction, pain, and sorrow. It's sometimes when we go through hardships that we know that we experience or we feel close to somebody else. I think through the COVID experience, excuse me, I haven't had a chance to have a cup of tea, so I'm a bit hoarse. So through the COVID experience, for many people, it has been a time of tremendous hardship, ordeal, turmoil. It's been tumultuous for so many people. And yet, in some way, they feel that they've really grown. They feel that they've discovered a new part of themselves that they weren't aware of before then. That is a moed. That is, it's hard, it's difficult. Nobody's minimizing, right? Or trying to cover up the difficulties and challenges. But that is a moed. That's an encounter. I guess it's the same as, when you're going through any type of, rigorous sport. You can have these extreme sports, mountaineering or jumping at, whatever it is. There is actually, I discovered, it was on BBC a few weeks ago, they have a race. Listen to this in America, what they've created. This guy created a race. How long is the race? There is no end to this race. It's unbelievable. The race is that you keep going until there is no one left to race you. So every day you get up and you run for a few hours, okay? And then basically you stop and you do the same thing day after day after day, like running hours upon hours upon hours, through this rough terrain. And basically the winner is the survival of the fittest. It's absolutely cruel. I saw pictures, you can look on BBC at pictures of these people after, running like, 20 hours a day, 18, 20 hours a day. They can hardly stand. And yet the strongest is the winner by, and they come back year after year, these, we call them addicts, but the point I'm saying is that when we go through these experiences, I'm not advocating that we should all be doing such things, but when we go through hardship, we discover something about ourselves that we previously may not have experienced and may not have known. So therefore, that's why when it comes to the festival of Tisha B'Av, we discovered something about ourselves. It's still considered a moed, as much in a sense as when we experience the joy, the simcha, the happiness. Let's move on. One final idea. We already mentioned that this week's parsha discusses about all the festivals, and it also discusses about the idea of the Omer. And we discussed yesterday that the idea that that there isn't an end point, that there is no date. So therefore, Shavuos is when we've built up to the festival of Shavuot after the previous 49 days. So there is a story. Firstly, there is a medrash which says that when do we complete the 7 weeks? When are they complete? So we said yesterday, every day is building on the previous day. The medrash says that when the Jewish people fulfill the will of God, that is when we have complete weeks, which makes sense. It fits in with what we said yesterday. The whole idea is that we're building on the previous day and we've got to reach the great lofty heights so that we are ready and we have reached a lofty caliber so that we are worthy of receiving the Torah. But that it's still a strange medrash that when do we complete the counting of the weeks? When we fulfill the will of God. So it's more the will of God. It doesn't say fulfilling the mitzvot or learning Torah, which I would have said. It's fulfilling the will of God. There are things that we can do in life, friends, that are not actually mitzvot per se, and they are not learning the Torah, right? All the things that we try to encourage people to do, but rather they are normal, what you and I would call the mundane, right? You have a tea or a coffee, right? You have a bit something to eat. We think that it's ordinary. It's what life's about. We do these things. It's the run-of-the-mill activities that we're all engaged with. So let me tell you a story, and it will transform the way you see the rest of your day and the rest of your life. The story is about the Baal Shem Tov. The Baal Shem Tov was the founder of the Hasidic movement, a great and holy man, and he wanted to see his partner. When we know that we're meant to have partners in the world to come, so he wanted to see his partner. So he was told that he should go to so and so place, so and so person, look for that person. That will be his partner in the world to come. So off the Baal Shem Tov goes, this great Hasidic master. He goes incognito, so no one recognizes him. And he arrives at this place and he asks, can I, I want to go and see, I'm looking for so-and-so. And they all give a snort, you want to go and see him? Okay, he's over there. And he goes, and to his surprise, rather than being, you'd expect this great rabbi, this saintly rabbi of you'd expect him to be meeting a great sage, a pious man. So he sees this person who's an absolute bore. He's, you can hardly appears to be like a human. He sees him, and he doesn't seem he seems very uncouth, very, very unrefined. So he watches him from a distance, and he notices when he's eating like a man obsessed, like he's never seen this man before, like he's never eaten before. He's eating and, just shoveling in the food. And after a while, he's fascinated. He's never seen anything like this. So he goes over to the man and he says to him, I noticed that you seem ravenous. You seem very hungry. Can I ask, what it is that you do? And he tells him, well, listen, I live a very simple life, but when it comes to eating, it's a very important thing in my life, as you can see. He says, well, why is it so important? He says, well, my father was taken away by the by the government, and he was starved to death, right? And he wasn't able. He didn't have the strength to fight them. He didn't have the strength to do anything. And I decided, I committed, even though I'm a simpleton, I don't know anything, but if I'm going to die because I'm Jewish, I want to die sanctifying God's name. And therefore, I want to have the strength to do so. And therefore, I'm eating more so that I will be able to put up more of a fight than my father. And the Baal Shem Tov could not believe what he heard. He says, do you realize what you're doing? It means every morsel that you're eating, every drink, everything that you eat, you are doing for the sake of heavens. You are on a much more lofty level than me. And it's a profound idea that we are saying, that we learn from this whole episode. And that's what it means, of course, V'sfartem lachem, that the way that we sanctify time is through doing the will of God. In other words, sanctifying time can't be dots that are that scattered around. Time is punctured. We have our moments where we do certain good deeds, we do charity, we're kind to somebody, and in between, the ordinary, the mundane, the grey part of our lives are disconnected and without meaning and significance. What the Baal Shem Tov discovered from this man is that everything that we are engaged with, whatever we are involved with, it can be the most mundane, the most ordinary, the most insignificant or seemingly insignificant event. And yet we are able to sanctify, to elevate, to infuse it with meaning and significance. And that's what he did. Through doing things for the sake of heavens. I'm not eating, right? I'm not eating merely for self-gratification, right? I'm eating as a means to an end. So I've got the strength to be able to live a full life and to be able to carry on doing good stuff in the world and to do mitzvot and carry out God's will. So when, for example, I go to sleep, I'm not going to sleep because I'm lazy. I'm going to sleep or resting for 10, 15 minutes, or I'm having a relaxing on the couch, not as an end in itself, but so I've got the strength to be able to deal with my kids, to deal with my grandchildren, to be a good spouse, whatever it is. Everything can and should have meaning. And that's our blessing today, everyone, that we should all be able to sanctify time so that, V'sfartem lachem, we make every second of our day count. With that, we'll carry on to the next, which is Psalm 23. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He causes me to lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside still waters. He restores my soul. He leads me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Even as I walk in the valley of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You set a table before me in the presence of my adversaries. You anointed my head with oil, my cup overflows. May only goodness and kindness pursue me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord for length of days. Memorial prayer. Adon Olamim Zochoes Nishmois Shenu Bas Reuven Levi David ben Shimon Baum Tzvi ben Mordechai Bentley Ami Bas Aryeh, Paul Casimir, Yom Yochia ben Moshe Eliezer, Shlomo Chia ben Moshe Eliezer, Ben Sion ben Yitzchak, Ari ben Shimon, Lev Aspai, Avram Mordechai ben Moshe Katler, Bav Shana Mispalim Bav Rambis, was Egosh Baruch Yimale Rachim Alehem, Lachim Posam, Vishlach Lim, Vishlim Nishmaim, Lachol Beso Shach Yisrael, Rafuah Sanef, Beshop Zakov, Hashras Makariv Nama, Amen. Long life wishes. Lastly, Rafuah Shlema prayer for all those that are unwell. Misha Berach of Saint Romas of Yaakov Moshan, Dav Shlomo Yivarach, Rabbi Zachalim, Bav Shana Mispalim Bav Ram. Bis Chazakadosh Baruch Hu Yimale Rachim Alehem Lachim Posam Yishlachem Fushlim Nushmaim Lacharem Beso Shach Yisrael Rafuah Sanef Shvozakov Hashavak Makariv Namar. Amen. Wish everyone well. Look forward to everyone joining us tomorrow 9 a.m. and then tomorrow night our special Lag BaOmer evening ideas and insights at 8:30 and a special Kabbalat Shabbat on Friday at 4 p.m. with Lag BaOmer, which falls on Friday. It'll be joyous, happy, clappy. Can't wait to see you there. Take care. All the very best.